Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. 1. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. So I want to give you guys an update on the Terrence Bud Crawford versus Olympic gold medalist Felix Diaz scrap, May 20th. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a good fight, and I think out of the names mentioned, that was the best possible. And for the record, I didn't have a problem with Crawford fighting any of the people that they had mentioned. From Amir Imam, who is the #1 mandatory for his WBC belt, I think it is, Don King fighter. Even though he lost to Granados, he's still a good fighter. And sometimes fighters like Crawford, who are very technical, they have to be in there with someone else who has skills too to bring the best out of them. Like if you're more of a John Molina, more of a brawler, then you see what Terrence Crawford does. You know what I mean? Postal does have skills, but he didn't get into a good rhythm early. So I wouldn't mind the Amir Imam fight. And Adrian Granados, same thing. He always brings heart. All of his losses are somewhat controversial, or it's not like he's getting blown out of the water and knocked out and stuff like that. So I would have been okay. But Felix Diaz beat Adrian Granados, and he's the guy who arguably has no losses versus Granados just lost to Broner, has losses to Leonardo Tyner, I think Kermit Cintron, or he has draws and losses, so it's kind of hard to keep up with things like that. So I think Felix Diaz was the rightful opponent. Not to mention, Felix Diaz has been calling them out, saying he's scared of me and he don't want this work, calling them out on social media. So I like it. And it's also a fight in between Ricky Burns, who's a champion in the new division, even though Crawford already beat him. He's fighting a dangerous Julius Indongo, the guy that knocked out Crawford's old mandatory, Troy Yanofsky, who had a good record and was undefeated. He knocked him out in 1 round. So this is a fight to keep Crawford active while waiting for that, and that's a possible unification. So he can do like Golovkin and attempt to become undisputed at 140. Really, it's hard to see anyone beating Crawford, but there's some people that could push him, and it's boxing, you never know. And Felix Diaz is definitely one of those people. However, location, it was going to happen at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey, where Shakur Stevenson is from. And they said Shakur Stevenson was going to fight on the StubHub card April 22nd alongside Gilberto Ramirez and Oscar Valdez. Oscar Valdez is fighting Nicholas Walters' amateur rival and pro rival Miguel Mariaga, who Walters beat as a pro. And you have Gilberto Ramirez coming back off an injury in a pretty long layoff, and he's fighting Max Bursack, who I think he's top 15 in the 168-pound division. So that's what it is. And Shakur Stevenson making his pro debut. Now, they are saying this fight will happen at Madison Square Garden, and it's going to be, they're saying, I looked at an article on ringtv.com. Make sure you guys check it out. Link in the description. They're saying they're scaling it down from the full capacity, which is like 19,000, to 9,000 to 10,000. Meaning they're going to range it so it doesn't have as many seats, and they're not going to, I guess they're basically not expecting this fight to be able to fill the house, so they don't want to have that many seating, so you just conform it. It's like the reverse of what they're doing for Joshua Klitschko. Joshua Klitschko is expecting a madhouse in terms of British fans, so they scaled it up and made additional seating up to 90,000. So they're doing the opposite. They're actually taking away some seats to make the Crawford Diaz, because they're not expecting it to sell that many, double the amount of the capacity they're going for. So I guess Golovkin has done that in the past with his fights, and they said somebody else in the article had previously done that, where they said a Cotto fight was scaled down. So it makes sense. Daniel Gill they probably didn't expect too much traffic from that fight. I think Cotto fought him in the Garden, so they scale it down. You don't want to have a bunch of empty seats. That just looks bad, especially for the camera. Now, this is my honest opinion. I obviously don't know the logistics. I don't work for Top Rank, anything like that. But if they are still putting Shakur Stevenson on this card, which I haven't heard, I heard that was the game plan. And if you go to Shakur Stevenson's box rec, they have him slotted for the May 20th date. But I heard that was the game plan for him. I think it would have been nice to see Shakur Stevenson get a hometown fight, within his first 2 fights. You look at the contrast, Michael Connellan, who's from Ireland. Now, he's not fighting in his actual homeland. That's because they're trying to break him into the U.S. market. And I mean, that kind of goes with the territory. If you're not from America, like Gennady Golovkin from Kazakhstan, or Manny Pacquiao from the Philippines, or Sergey Kovalev from Russia, you know what I mean? These guys come from other regions to make a name for themselves in America. Canelo Alvarez came from Mexico, make a name for himself. This is a land of opportunity. So a lot of people from different regions can scrap. Maidana from Argentina, they come to America to build their name because they know there's a lot of, you know what I mean, HBO and Showtime, and there's a lot of main attractions for boxing. So Conlon, he didn't get to scrap at home, but his pro debut was on St. Patrick's Day weekend in a place like New York that has a high population of Irish fans, right? And they're talking about Michael Conlon's second fight, right? And they're talking about making that fight in Boston, which is the East Coast in general, but definitely Boston. Hey, meet me at Fenway Park. Get the car keys, right? Boston and New York are known communities where, you know what I mean, they have Irish pubs and stuff like that. So if they're going to roll out the red carpet for Michael Conlon, which he's a great fighter, he was in the Olympics, I like him. I watched his first scrap and things like that. I think they should do the same thing for Shakur Stevenson. You know what I mean? Give him a feel-good fight. The StubHub, that's cool to bring him April 22nd card, because he's on a pay-per-view card with two Hispanic Americans, Gilberto Ramirez and Oscar Valdez. But I think his market is more probably like his definite market. LA is a market they could try to tap into with Shakur Stevenson, you know what I mean? But his definitive market to me would be on the East Coast, you know what I mean? So Madison Square Garden is still the East Coast, but I don't know Top Rank's decision. I don't know, maybe they have a better relationship with the Garden. I don't know, but the Prudential Center holds like 18 to 19,000. And if you're going to have Crawford, a very skilled fighter, and then you're going to put Shakur Stevenson on the undercard, why not just keep it at the Prudential Center where Shakur Stevenson is from? Either way, Terrence Crawford is not fighting at home this fight because he's from Omaha. So I don't really understand the switch to the Garden. Again, maybe the Garden offered them something that the Prudential Center wasn't. I don't know the details, but just from the outsider looking in, from my perspective, I think the Newark location probably made more sense, right? Because they said they had it on hold. It just seemed like more of a fit, especially if you're going to downscale the Garden from the 19,000 capacity to 10,000. Because if you did it where Shakur Stevenson is from, I watched Shakur Stevenson when he came back from the Rio Olympics, right? I watched he did a homecoming. He had like a TMT hat on or something like that. And they did a homecoming and it looked pretty thick out there. It looked like it was pretty crowded. So you might not even have to downscale if you put Crawford on the same card as Shakur Stevenson, and they're talking about putting Felix Verdejo on the same card. So if you put those names on the card at the Prudential Center, you may not even have to downscale it, and it could probably easily surpass 9 to 10,000 in terms of the seating. You know what I mean? Probably could do 14, 15, maybe 16,000. I don't know. I don't know. It's just a forecast, but based on Shakur being from there and Crawford being a pound for pound caliber fighter, especially if you put Felix Verdejo, just another name that Top Rank has, I think it would do well there. So again, I don't know the logistics. I don't know why they switched to Madison Square Garden. I'm sure Terrence Crawford is happy because either way, he's not from there. He's from Omaha, so he doesn't care. He just wants his scrap. So he might be happy, but I think that would have been cool for Shakur Stevenson to do like they did with Michael Conlon, since they put Conlon in New York and Boston. Those are markets that are clearly already ready made for him. You know what I mean? Places with an Irish population, a significant one, right? Like, for example, California. I mean, I don't know. I live in the Bay Area. So, like, let's say they have Michael Conlon. I mean, there's Irish people here, but California, especially Northern California, is such a melting pot. We have African American, we have white people, we have Filipino, we have Chinese, we have Korean, you know what I mean? We have like all races, Mexican, Puerto Rican. It's just a big pot of gumbo. It's a melting pot out here, right? So to me, to put Michael Connelly when you know what I mean, when he's coming up or whatever, it doesn't necessarily make sense to put him in the HP Pavilion in San Jose or at the Oracle or something like that, because it's not a definite market for him yet. You know what I mean? As his star power enhances and stuff. And that's kind of what I see what they're doing with Shakur Stevenson. They're putting him in a market like Los Angeles, which isn't, to me, it's not as a distinct known market that he's already tapped into as much as home. I mean, it just goes without saying. People complained about it, like Andre Ward. Why is he always fighting Oakland? He's going to do good numbers there. He's going to do the best numbers in Oakland. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people. Imagine if Canelo was fighting in Mexico. If Triple G gets this Billy Joe Saunders fight in Kazakhstan, it's gonna do numbers. That's where they're from. That's common sense. You fight at home, and you're from there, and you know what I mean. Less people hate you. But that's what I think they should have done with Shakur Stevenson. Again, I don't even know if he's on the card. I haven't heard anything definitive other than like BoxRec and kind of like speculation from Aram or whatever, but I haven't heard his opponent, and he still has to get past his pro debut, which he's a talented fighter, so he should. But I would have liked to see them do that for Crawford, or excuse me, for Shakur Stevenson as well. Just put him in a market that, like the LA, that's cool, and if he's gonna bounce back, put him in another market. Now, I mean, some people could say this is nitpicking, because at the end, Newark and New York is not far, is in terms of like you can catch I'm pretty sure you can catch some subway, or you can drive, and it's not too much of a drive. But still, if that was the initial location, I really feel they wouldn't have to scale down the capacity, because it could probably do better numbers there than the Garden. The Garden's hard to sell out, you know what I mean? Even the Golovkin-Jacobs capacity, it had less of an attendance than Golovkin-David Lemieux. And I think that was more of a challenging fight on paper, and it was a better fight. And it was a champion in Jacobs who had title defenses, unlike David Lemieux. But for whatever reason, Golovkin-Jacobs had a better attendance. They sold more seats, but Golovkin-Jacobs did better pay-per-view numbers, did a higher live gate and merchandise and stuff was better with that particular fight. But the actual amount of seats sold was less for this fight for whatever reason. Not by a large margin, but it still was. So to me, I think it makes sense in New Jersey if you already had that location unlocked. But again, I'm not in the cutting room floor. I don't know what changed the decision, but that's the update. And I don't even know if Shakur Stevenson's on the card, so that might be a thing too. If he's not on the card anymore, then it definitely makes sense to put Crawford and Diaz in the Garden. You know what I mean? So that's my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.